Got a new slogan, a testimony a day keeps the devil away.
All right.
So I'm here, she's helping me that the devil stays away. And what's your name?
My name is Carol Foltz. I'm from Pennsylvania in the United States of America.
Unbelievable. How often have you been here?
This is my 6th year. The first time I came was in 2018. Do I look at you or that?
Yeah.
2018 with my husband. And I'm a cradle Catholic. My husband is a convert. So I have always believed, I've always had a devotion to the Blessed Mother and the Rosary. But I also call myself a sign seeker. Like, I like signs. And I realize that signs are not necessarily the answer. But before I came over, I wrote a letter to the Blessed Mother, and I said to her, while I am there, I would love to see a sign, but if one is not given, I still believe. So the first 2 days we came, of course, I'm looking all over, looking for an orb, looking for something, and nothing happened, which was fine. On the third day, my husband and I went to confession, and we came out of confession. He was in one area, me in another, and we took a walk. And I looked up at the sun, and I stopped, and it was spinning and pulsating, and it was red, and I got very emotional. And so that was my first sign. And then 2 days later, we were up at Blue Cross, and we were with another friend. We were at the main Blue Cross, and Arrow was up at the other one. And he came running up to my husband and I, and he said, come here, come here. So we're like, okay. So we go over and knelt down in front of the statue of the Blessed Mother, and she tilted her head and smiled and tilted her head back. And I thought, I didn't see what I just saw, did I? So we said nothing until we went back to our room, and I said to my husband, did you happen to see anything while we were up there? And very matter-of-factly, Tim goes, yeah, Mary smiled at me. And then we both were, overcome with emotion. So after that, I just let it go. I was like, Mary, if you keep showing us signs, that's great, but I am very happy. And as a result of being there the first time, before I even went home, I knew that I wanted to come back. My husband not so much, simply because he does not like international travel and customs. Plus, we also got delayed. We were held over in Germany unexpectedly and had to spend the night. But after returning home, he said, you can go back as many times as you want, but I'm satisfied, I'll stay home. In the meantime, we developed a relationship, a friendship with a few people that we met on the first pilgrimage. One was Mike Stanton, Janet Estillano from New York, Arrow Osborne from Ohio, Jimmy Kavanaugh from New York, and I like to say you almost feel like part of a family because when you meet people here, you have an instant connection. It's your faith, that brought you here, and it's being together. I like to say that God takes a golden thread and weaves a tapestry in and out of our lives, and that's when He brings people. So I forget what you said. This is your 4th time. So 4 years ago, Patty and I both go to the same parish, and I told her I was coming back. I forget how it went, but she expressed an interest. So Patty has been my travel companion.
She's your travel companion now?
Yes, she takes very good care of me.
Wow, beautiful.
So that would be my testimony, I guess.
Beautiful. And you have always been Catholic?
Yes, I have.
Never went astray into the world, something?
No.
Why? Why are you Catholic? What is so beautiful about your faith? What would you tell
Well,
me?
first of all, I look at it as a gift. Did you ever give people a gift and then they're like, oh, that's nice, and put it away, don't even use it? So my mother was the Catholic, my father was not. and he never converted, which was fine. But my mother had a very deep, beautiful faith. She died when she was only 41, but I do remember her strong love of God and of the Blessed Mother. And I think almost as my way of honoring her after her death, I became very determined to just remain true to the church.
How did she show it to you, that faith? How did that have an impact on you, that faith of your mother? Can you explain that?
Well, we would pray the rosary together. I can't say we did it daily, but there would be evenings after dinner that she would take my sister and myself, and we'd go in the living room and sit on the couch and pray, or just the way she demonstrated love for people. She was very much a caregiver, and the way she treated my father with kindness, even though he was not Catholic, you know, I never saw any feeling between the two of them of, oh, well, I have something and you don't, or vice versa.
That is an important lesson for all of us, because these days there are a lot of Christians, we are divided. They want to divide us.
Yes.
Orthodox Christians, Catholic, how to say, Latin mass goers.
Yes.
And
yes.
your mother gave an example.
Right.
Because this is not, what does Jesus pray? That they may stay united.
Right. Right.
It's beautiful. I think that's a lesson for all of us by your mother.
Yeah.
And what is the rosary prayer for you? You prayed it with her, maybe at the beginning, reluctantly, I can imagine, as a little
Oh,
girl.
yes. It's like, really? We have to do the rosary?
Yeah.
I can remember a statue. She was plastic. She was about this tall, and the base was hollow. And inside that hollow base was a big fat rosary with rosary beads. That's what we used as children.
What did you think at the beginning? You said, oh, not again?
Probably. I mean, I truthfully don't remember, but I never really disliked it. So.
I mean, it's the example of your mother. She didn't force you. It was a kind,
Right.
authentic way.
Right.
I think that's another important thing. We shouldn't force our faith for parents on the children. You live it with joy, authentically, and the children will follow you, no?
Yes.
And you directly, then you left, you got married. You continued to pray the rosary then? How was your
I
there?
probably fell away from it for a little bit, you know, got busy raising my children and getting involved with school and Girl Scouts. But at church, if they would pray the rosary before Mass or something, of course, then I joined in. But about 5 years ago, I heard about a virtual rosary group that they use Zoom, and the couple that does it lives in Massachusetts, and there's another couple in Michigan that were instrumental. Stan and Aldana Menvidas did the rosary in a barn that was built like a chapel, and after COVID, then it definitely became virtual. So they pray every morning at 7 o'clock, every evening at 10:15. And I joined them.
Beautiful.
And
via YouTube, or how do you join them?
Zoom.
Zoom, you said, yeah.
On Zoom.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So there are so many different ways we can serve Jesus.
Yes, yeah.
Because there was a lady from Ukraine, and she saw Jesus in a dream. He came and said, what do you do in your life for me? And we should all ask, can be a smile, a nice call, something nice to do somebody else.
Yes.
And confession, you go regularly?
Confession?
Yeah. From time.
2 times a week? No, I don't. I'm teasing.
honestly, a work in
I
progress.
go about once every 2 months.
Yeah.
I'd like to say I go monthly, but that would be a fib.
Is it tough for you to go to confession?
Yes, I don't like that sacrament.
Explain and then tell what is so beautiful about confession.
Well, it's the graces you receive,
Yeah.
you know, and I know that. I think what holds me back is you make yourself vulnerable.
Yes.
Because you're like, okay, I did this or I did that, and I don't like admitting it to someone else. But when you see the sympathy and the love and the forgiveness in the priest, when I went here, 2 nights ago, that priest, I swear he had the face of Jesus. And he even said to me, because I said, I really don't like being here. And then he laughed. He said, I don't know too many people who do. And then I said, well, I don't even know where to begin. And he said, why don't you just look at me and think of me as Jesus? And I'm just here to tell you that I love you. And whatever you did, I forgive you. Well, of course, I'm like reaching for the tissues, and I'm crying, and I can hardly talk. But then I got through it. But he was beautiful. That I think was the most beautiful priest, and I've had a lot of good priests in confession. But if I could have him again, but he lives in Iowa somewhere, so I'll probably never see him.
Wow.
But it was the most meaningful confession that I've had in a long time.
That's Medjugorje.
And then it made me think, well, now why don't I just go home and keep doing this? You know, instead of procrastinating. So
that's maybe a fruit now for you of Medjugorje, no?
Could be.
If I may ask, you said you're praying the Rosary with this family. What does it bring for you to pray the Rosary? Why do you do that?
Well, we pray on Wednesdays. We pray for the intentions of the Blessed Mother.
Yeah.
On Tuesdays, we pray for the end of abortion, and then I think on Wednesday evening we also pray for our government. You know, it actually, when it started, it was right after the American elections. Well, it was before that, but we were praying for fair elections. And so we just continue that, and we continue believing that no matter what it looks like in the United States, God's in control. And so our thrust of praying the Rosary is, may it be so. You know, through our prayers.
So beautiful. And you see results through the Rosary prayer?
I think so, yes.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And tell me, why do you come back all the time to Medjugorje?
She calls you here.
You feel it in the heart?
Yes.
It's a law, no? A lot of people say that. There's a calling directly by Our Lady. And what do you get here then? When you are here?
It's just a sense of peace. It's you can disconnect, you know, and like no TV, no news, no email for me, no Facebook. I just come to see what they have to tell me, and
the simplicity of life.
It's the simplicity of life.
Like we meet, talk about our faith and stuff like that. And what would you tell? You know, it's a new question. There's a young man in America has a YouTube channel. He asked, like, what would you tell your younger self, being 18 years, with the experience of now? What would you tell yourself as an advice?
Don't wait so long.
For?
For finding Jesus, you know, for finding a relationship. I mean, I always knew who he was.
Yeah.
As a child, I went to Catholic school for 12 years. So you knew about him.
Yeah.
But to say that, did I have a close relationship? Or did I have excitement about wanting to be in his presence? That was not always there. So, as a young person, or even as a young mom, like I was a good person. I was a good mother, a good wife. Did what you were supposed to do. But I just think the sooner you can start falling in love with Christ or his mother, I think the happier your life would be.
But people would love to do that, but they don't get a connection. What do you recommend them to do? How can they have that love affair? How can they have this personal relationship?
Well, try disconnecting from TV and social media, and just go outside maybe on a beautiful evening and sit there and listen to nature and say to yourself, isn't this heavenly? I mean, I really don't have a good answer for that, but I think maybe Jesus gives us a hunger. The Blessed Mother gives us a hunger for her Son. And once you recognize that hunger, then you really want it. You want to be fed. Like when first time I heard them say about when Christ said, "I thirst" from the cross, he wasn't really thirsting because he was thirsty. He was thirsting for us. And the first time I heard that, it moved me to tears because I was like, ooh.
So powerful.
It is powerful.
You know, I studied with a Jewish rabbi. At one point I wanted to convert, and the first lesson was, and that's our Catholic faith as well, he said, Tom, if you study with me, you have to yearn for it as you yearn for a woman, physically, emotionally, intellectually. If not, be a landscaper, be a computer scientist, whatever, but not lukewarm, hot or cold. You know?
Wow, that's the way it is.
And that's what Jesus didn't say, maybe I thirst a little bit. He said, I thirst from the depth of his heart. No? For us, doesn't he like? So amazing. And what would you tell people, why come to Medjugorje one time?
If you're looking for peace, it's here.
It's here. I think that's the simple answer. What can I say? Thank you for that beautiful interview.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So I wanted to ask you one more question.
Yes.
The Eucharist. What is the Eucharist? Holy Mass for you?
It's actually become my life. When I was younger, I have an aunt who would go to Mass 7 days a week. And I would say when I was in my 50s, I used to think, why is she doing that every day? I never criticized her. I just found myself, I could not relate to someone who would want to go to church every day of the week. Well, fast forward to my life now, the only days I'm not at Eucharist is when I'm a caregiver for a 100-year-old woman. Otherwise, I make it a point to go to church, and when I receive, I just feel complete.
It's the real presence of Jesus Christ,
Yes.
body and soul, blood.
Yes.
You
And
feel-
I cannot understand how you could be a Catholic and not understand that. You know, I know they said, what is it, like 70% or something? There's a
No.
large percentage of people who don't believe, and that is, I just can't imagine it.
It's the center of our faith.
Yes.
And when you
yes.
experience this, you run
Right.
every day, as Pater Pio
Right.
says, no? If
Right.
people knew, they
Right.
would run, they would become, how do you say, like cars, like
Right.
Times Square, New York.
And if I might add, my favorite
Saint?
verse is,
verse? Yeah, by the
I
way.
have found the one whom my soul loves.
I can see that in your eyes. You know, they say in Medjugorje, you can see it. Our Lady in the eyes of the people. You have these gentle, kind eyes, peaceful, joyful eyes. And favorite saint you have as well?
Favorite saint? I'll say Saint Anne because that's my middle name, the Blessed Mother's mother. So,
And we are so happy that she was there and that
yes,
we have the Blessed
yes.
Mother. Thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you.